a broken foot in Wyoming, sleeping on a rocky beach, and a suspicious credit card disappearance. This week, it's vacation mishaps.
Traveling the world to bring you delicious dishes, tasty beverages, and interesting experiences. This is the Destination Eat Drink Podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
I'm Brent Peterson. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel podcast for foodies. Destination Eat Drink is for foodies who like to travel and travelers who love to eat. And this week, we're talking with author and podcaster Rick Kaempfer about vacation mishaps. But first, take a moment to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app. It just takes a moment, and your 5 stars help other foodie travelers just like you find the show, and thank you very much. You can also support Destination Eat Drink at Buy Me a Coffee. You can download one of my foodie travel guide ebooks, including my brand new one to Puglia, one of the great underrated regions of Italy. It features all 5 of my Puglia city guides to Lecce, Bari, and more for just $5.99. That's 60% off if you bought the guide separately. Download yours at buymeacoffee.com/destinationeatdrink, and thank you very much. Rick Kaempfer is an award-winning author, podcaster, and publisher. His podcast, Minutia Men with Dave Stern, is hilarious. You can find it at radiomisfits.com or on your podcast app. Rick and I talk about when vacations go wrong, like an unwanted pig farm vacation, sushi in Cooperstown, and drawing blood in Portugal. Rick also shares a story from his life that ended up in his novel, Back in the DDR, which is available at eckhartspress.com. Okay, let's put on a helmet and talk to Rick Kaempfer.
Destination Eat Drink.
Rick Kaempfer, podcaster and co-owner of Eckharts Press. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink. I don't know, 7th time, 8th time, something like that.
Yeah, I'm honored to be back.
Great to talk to you. You know, I've been having you on every year when I come back to Chicago, and we're in your studio, which is something that, you know, I like being in my home studio, but this is really nice too. But last year we didn't connect for some reason. So it's been 2 years since I had you on. And last time you told this great story about, well, great. It was a little bit sad, a little bit painful, of the story about when you went to Switzerland and you broke your arm. Right. So this episode is all about vacation mishaps.
And
so
you
I thought,
come to the right place.
and I found the guy. So you're going to share some of your vacation mishaps because you have some great ones. And as we start here, just recap quickly, because we went into detail on the last one about you breaking your arm. But for folks who didn't hear that episode, tell that story.
So we went back to Switzerland in, I think it was 22 or 23. And it's a beautiful part of Switzerland called Lauterbrunnen. And we rented bikes and we went mountain biking. And in the last few minutes of our ride, we had to make one more turn.
The end is near.
The end is near. I had to go under a bridge, and they said to duck. I didn't hear them say duck, and I didn't. When I got right to the bridge, I ducked at the last second, which made me turn the handlebars and made me go flying into a stone wall that had been there for 1,000 years. And the stone wall didn't move, but my arm and my shoulder did, and I snapped a bone. And we were in Lauterbrunnen, is in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And so getting back to Chicago was a major trauma. By the way, for those of you traveling in Europe, one of the few countries that does not have socialized medicine is Switzerland. So it would have been $40,000 to have the surgery there. So we opted to fly back to Chicago.
Gutted it out with a broken arm on an airplane.
Yes.
Like painful.
I had to take a train to the airplane. And, I complain about myself, but my wife had to carry all the luggage, and she had to take care of me, and it was horrible for her, too.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
It took me a year to recover from that.
Yeah, because when I was here 2 years ago and we did the episode, you were still in a sling at that point.
I didn't get feeling back in my hands because it had damaged nerves for 6 months, 8 months, and it took a full year before I was recovered.
You're fine now.
I'm fine now.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, you and I have been friends, and our group of friends, we've been friends forever,
Yeah.
all of our adult lives. And we're on a WhatsApp group. And, as men do,
Uh-huh.
we just gave you so much
Oh, my
crap about
God,
that
yeah.
just over and over again.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, like, now's the time to get Rick, because this will never happen again. This is just a freak accident.
Au contraire. Au contraire, Brent.
But then your very next trip.
Yeah. So, all right. So I had just recovered, right? My arm was back. I was just recovered. We had a wedding in Wyoming, Jackson Hole. Beautiful.
Another beautiful mountainous place.
Yellowstone National Park is right there, the Grand Tetons. And we went on a walk around this place called Lake Jenny, I think it's called. And it was just gorgeous. It's like a mile walk up and then a mile walk down in the mountains. Well, on the way up, I tripped over a tree root or something, and I landed very badly on my ankle. And I thought, okay, I sprained my ankle.
Yeah.
Right. So I walked the rest of the way down, and I was limping badly. I grabbed a stick, I was limping with the stick, mountain hiking.
Yeah.
Made it back down, got to the airport because we were flying out the next day. If you've ever been to Jackson Hole Airport, it's a mile. You don't walk through the airport. You walk out onto the tarmac to the airplane. And so again, I'm like struggling. I'm, on a crutch. They gave me a wheelchair.
Bridget is carrying all the luggage again.
All the luggage. Yes, exactly.
Somehow I think all these accidents are related to you not wanting to carry your own luggage.
Well, this time I thought it was just a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
But we had the x-rays when we came home, and it was it was a broken ankle, and it was a broken tibia. So I had like a broken leg and a broken ankle, and that took 6 months or 8 months to recover from.
So are you shell shocked now? I mean, are you like, okay, what is next?
Well, we're not going to the mountains. I'll tell you that.
I'm not riding a bike. I'm not going in the mountains.
No, and I love the mountains. I grew up in the mountains in Germany, so I'll get over it. I'm just going to be a little more careful.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. So, I was telling Karen about this episode that I was going to do with you as we were coming over here from Portugal, and I was like, can you think of anything that happened? And she's like, oh, I don't know. She had a couple of things, and it was like being late for flights, or stuff like, really just mundane things that happen to everyone. But then we were up in northern Portugal just maybe a week and a half ago for this big festival called the Parade of Our Lady of Agony.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's a lot of fun.
The Catholics.
It is actually a really cool celebration. It is a big party.
I'm allowed to say that, by the way. I'm a Catholic.
Of course.
Yeah.
Portuguese know how to party is what I was going to say. Yeah. So anyway, we're with another couple, and we're walking around. And on the sidewalk, between the sidewalk and the street, there's these cement posts, maybe 18 to 24 inches tall, to keep the cars from jumping the curb and getting on the sidewalk and running people over. Our friend is not looking, and she takes a step backwards and trips over one of these. And she spins around, and I instinctively try to grab her wrist so she won't fall. And she reaches up and she slices me across the forehead with her nail.
Oh, jeez.
Draws blood. Didn't hurt or anything, but it looked, a little funny. And then with her other hand, I didn't even notice it, but she somehow got her hand inside the collar of my shirt and scratched me across the chest.
Wow.
Like at least 18 inches, all from shoulder to shoulder. And I didn't even notice till the next morning when I when I took off my T-shirt to take a shower, and
I
I'm
swear, honey, it was that same
exactly. And that's what I said to her. I'm like, thank God you were here, because I would have a hell of a time trying to explain this scratch across my chest.
I like that one. That's a good one.
So anyway, that was a recent mishap. What other mishaps do you have, Rick?
Well, I can go back. 30 years ago, my buddies and I, for our 30th birthday, so I'm 62 now.
So this is early 90s.
Yeah, early 90s. We went to Nice, France.
Great spot.
And we were, 30 years old, but in our minds, we were in our 20s. You know what I mean? We were, let's go
we're going to party.
Backpacking and,
okay.
Let's do the Euro, the train.
Yeah, the Eurail Pass.
Eurail Pass. Yeah, I couldn't even think of it. That's how long ago it was.
You staying in hostels? Or staying in decent hotels? We were staying
in wherever we could find. We'd show up into a town and we go like, we'll just find a place. Well, in Nice, we found only one place. There was only one room, and there were 5 of us. And so we pretended like there were 4 of us because it was a 4-person maximum.
Right.
Well, we went out that night, and we went out until like 2 a.m. And, in Europe, some of the hotels, they'll shut the front door. They'll lock it.
Yeah.
Until people come home, right? And then people come home, you knock on the door, and they have to come and open it. Well, I somehow got separated from the other 4. And they came home first, got the person up, whoever was running the hotel, got him up in the middle of the night, and he noticed there were 4 people, let him into the room. Well, about an hour later, I made it back. I knock on the door. He's like, who are you here with? I said, well, this is my room. He goes, no, there's already 4 people in that room.
Yeah.
You can't stay here.
Oh, my God.
I said, what do I do? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
He goes, go sleep on the beach.
Thanks.
So I went to the beach in Nice. Now, if you've ever been to Nice, the beach is rocks.
Yes.
It's not sand.
Yeah.
There are no benches. It is just uncomfortable. And I had nothing. I had my shorts and my shirt. And so that's what I did. I went, laid down. I tried to figure out a way to make the rocks comfortable. And I slept on the beach in Nice.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
My friend John in Portugal, he's an American, but he lives in Portugal, and he likes to tell the story about when his backpacking days, and he went up to Norway and was taking the train and then was going to take the train back, and somehow he missed the train and had to stay overnight in I forget what town it was, but it wasn't Oslo. It was some hinterland town, and couldn't find a place. Didn't have any money, anything, and ended up in Norway sleeping on a park bench. Like, dude,
well, that's worse.
You're lucky you didn't freeze to death. I mean,
Yeah. Nice at least was nice weather-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Rocks.
That's worse.
rocky bed. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else you got?
So, all right, the same group that I was talking about when we went for our 30th birthday.
Okay.
We also traveled together for our 50th birthday.
20 years later. You're older.
We're older.
You're much wiser.
You'd think.
So you're obviously not gonna make the same mistakes again because you've learned from your mistakes. And as an intelligent person, you think, okay, we're gonna plan ahead.
Yeah.
And so what could possibly go wrong? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, okay. That sounds like a great theory, but that's not what we did because we're morons. And we thought, sense of adventure. Let's pretend like we're young again, and let's remember how fun it was when we were young. And we had forgotten about that Nice story. I was the only one that had to sleep on the rocks. Those guys, they didn't care.
You're in the back, like raising your hand. Hey
wait
guys.
a minute. This didn't go well. Oh yeah, Rick, he's always the downer, Debbie Downer. So we made it to Dubrovnik in Croatia, which is a beautiful city,
but very popular. Very touristy.
Very popular. Super popular. And, the sort of thing where you would get a hotel room in advance, right? So we got to the town or, an Airbnb or something, right? Got to the town and there was nothing. There was some sort of a festival or something in town and there was nothing. And I mean, We tried everything. We called every hotel. We were on the Airbnbs. There was nothing. We went to the train station. We tried to talk to people there. You know,
sometimes they know somebody.
Sometimes, yes, nothing. Finally, we found one guy who said that he knows this guy named Boris, who has a house up on the hill.
Okay.
You know, and Dubrovnik, if you've been there before, is in the valley.
Yeah.
Right. So
by the water.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But Boris showed up, didn't speak a word of English, and took us to his house. And it was just his house. It wasn't like a hotel or an Airbnb or anything. It was just his house.
This is the start of every 80s horror movie ever.
And Boris looked like a Boris.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
He looked like the bad guy in any movie about Sarajevo or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like one of those guys. So we get to the top of this hill, and, you know, there was like one bed. I got the bed this time.
Yes.
Which I made.
Remember 20 years ago when I slept on the beach? Bed's mine.
Exactly. So I got the bed, and the rest of them had to lie down in the living room, wherever they could find a place. Next morning, Boris is gone. So it's just us. We're in this house by ourselves.
Is it even his house?
Yeah. And then we find out that it's 10 miles to the city center.
Oh, jeez.
And we have no way of getting a ride or anything. So we had to walk 10 miles down to the city center, which we did. And, you know, we eventually is a happy ending. We found another place to stay. But
yeah.
That I'll never forget that. And now that I'm sitting here, no more riding bikes, no more visiting mountains, and no more showing up unannounced with no hotel room.
So 30 years after the fact, lesson learned.
Yes, 62 years old, people. This is how long it took me.
You know, I was when I got here to Chicago, I was telling our mutual friend Mike about this episode that we were going to do, and I was telling him how I was struggling to come up with travel mishaps. See, now as I say this, Rick, I'm thinking to myself, I am just asking for trouble because I'm going to curse myself because we've had such, you know, decent luck. Very few mishaps.
Right.
But he said,
"Did you hear that, God? Did you hear that?
It's all okay. It's all good. I don't need to learn my lesson. I've already learned my lesson." But he reminded me of a story when we were in Ireland, in Dublin, and this is years ago. Karen and I were in this great little restaurant in Dublin, and we had this wonderful meal, and we're getting ready to pay the check, and they come by, and I give them my credit card, and the strangest thing, it just slipped out of my hand. And, you know, like in a movie, it just goes slow motion, spinning out of my hand, and what I think is to the ground. So I scoop my chair out, and I'm looking under the table, and it's nowhere to be found. Nowhere. And I'm like, well, maybe it bounced, and by now the whole restaurant is involved. So there's 20 people looking under their tables and everywhere. And this guy across the aisle, he might have been from Austria. But anyway, he says, look in the baseboard. And at this point, I'm thinking, the waiter somehow performed some kind of Jedi mind trick on me and did like a sleight of hand, and now he pocketed my
he's
my
already charging things right now.
Yeah, I'm like, look behind the baseboard. How could that even possibly happen? You know, what law of physics would allow this credit card to go flying from my hand behind the baseboard? And so we get down there and we look, and sure enough, there's a tiny gap between the baseboard and the drywall that is exactly the width of a credit card, and there's my credit card in there between the baseboard and the wall.
Wow.
So I'm trying to fish it out, you know, because it's not sticking out, it's down in there, and I can't get it out. So this guy from Austria goes, let me give it a crack. So he goes down and he reaches his spindly little fingers down in there, and somehow with half of a fingernail gets it up and pulls it out and rescues the credit card. And I go,
and then he scratched you across your
and he
chest.
scratched me across my chest, and he stole my credit card. I said, how did you do that? And he holds his hands out like bear claws and goes, mountain climbing.
Oh, okay.
in a great German accent.
That's great.
Yeah. So always look for the German guy when you lose your credit card. You know,
I have an Austria story too.
Oh, good.
You got time for it?
Yeah, of course.
This one goes way back.
Excellent.
This goes back to 1974. All right. So I was 11 years old.
Okay. So before you start, Rick, was this story in any way included in your book?
It was
back in the
DDR.
Back in the DDR. Great book. Eckhart's Press. Look it up. I loved it.
Thank you. Yes. So I was 11 years old. My parents sent my sister and I to Europe, to a family we had never met before, without us wanting to go, in Austria, in the middle of nowhere in Austria, actually on the same mountain that they did The Sound of Music, which was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
It rained every day we were there. But anyway, they sent us to this place to teach us German better, not knowing, we didn't know that we were eventually going to be moving to Germany.
Oh, do you think your parents knew that?
I think so.
Okay.
And it was like a total immersion. This is such a German way to do this.
Right.
You know, you can't go to have lessons. You got to just send the kids to Austria. So, I mean, they put it, I was 10 or 11 and my sister was a year younger than me. And they just put us on an airplane and sent us off.
It's crazy.
We had never met these people before. They picked us up in Munich and then drove us to the Salzburg. And we found out when we got there, it was a pig farm. Oh my God. And there were no kids. There was nothing to do. Yeah. There was no one anywhere. And we were on a pig farm for a month.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So that is my story. For me, Austria has mixed emotions for me.
See, this is what younger people don't understand about the 70s, about growing up in the 70s.
Yeah.
My parents, we lived in the suburbs of Chicago in Barrington, and every summer for 2 weeks, my parents would pack us up in the car and we would drive up to northern Michigan, which was, I don't know, 6-8 hours, whatever it was. And the three boys would be crammed in the back of that car and fighting like cats and dogs the entire way. So one year I was maybe 14 and my middle brother was maybe 12. Might have been 15, 13, but I seem to think something like that. I know we were younger than 16. And we got the bright idea. We had new bicycles we had gotten that year. And we said, let us bike up there, and then we can avoid this whole fighting in the back seat thing. Well, it's a couple 100 miles, right?
That's crazy.
So my parents were like, well, I don't know how good an idea that is, going around Chicago and up the whole way up to northern Michigan. But we'll drive halfway and then we'll let you out and you guys can drive up there. Now, I don't remember the name of the road, but there's a main artery that travels up the western side of Michigan along Lake Michigan there. And for a lot of it, it's just 2 lanes with a gravel shoulder. And we're on our bicycles, like hugging the side of this, and cars are 80 miles an hour going past. No helmets.
Yeah.
We got no helmets.
Yeah.
And it was a 2-day excursion. So we had to just find a motel halfway along there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I remember distinctly, we get to the hotel and there's a liquor store right next door to the hotel. And some degenerate guy comes up to us and goes, you guys want a beer?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No, we're a little scared suburban kids. Let's find our hotel room and get the hell out of here.
Wow.
We made it though.
Yeah.
But then of course, after driving safely that whole way, the first day after that, I was biking back from the tennis courts on this safe blacktop in the tranquil woods of northern Michigan, lose control of the bike and go smashing face first into a tree.
Oh, fun.
So, I ride the whole way up there, nothing happens, and then smash into a tree. So, well, this has been great, Rick.
Sure.
Eckhart's Press, people should check it out because you guys always have great books. One of the best ones that you guys have done recently is called The Loop Files. Anyone from Chicago or anyone interested in radio should pick this up because it is a legendary radio station, and your book captures that legend perfectly.
Oh, thank you.
EckhartsPress.com.
Yes, that's right.
What else have you guys got coming up?
We have a book from famous artist Tony Fitzpatrick. He's a world-renowned artist. Does drawings of birds and animals and things like that. But he also is an essayist and a total rabble rouser.
Good.
Who lives up to the South Side of Chicago.
Nice.
He's a big White Sox fan, just like the Pope. So that's our next big book, and we're really excited about that one.
That's great. When you guys doing the Pope book? I mean, that's Chicago.
Well, there's a rumor. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a rumor that the Pope may have one of our books.
For real? Because
we wrote a book about Dick Allen, who just got put into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he grew up as a White Sox fan. The Pope grew up as a White Sox fan, and they've
seen him as Pope wearing a Sox cap.
That's right. And that was his hero growing up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So cool. We didn't talk about this, but you were at the induction ceremony for Dick Allen.
I was
in Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
That was pretty cool.
What was the experience like?
So Dave and I, my co-publisher and I, drove out there with my family, and it was a 12-hour car ride, so that was kind of fun. But it was wild. Like, you're walking around Cooperstown, New York on Hall of Fame weekend, and you're bumping into Hall of Famers left and right. We saw Lee Smith on the street, and
oh, cool.
And then they bring in their friends like Eric Davis. We saw him, and
oh, wow.
Mike Cameron, and these are big baseball players.
Yeah.
Plus, there were 55 Hall of Famers there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right, so
including Ichiro, who was inducted that weekend, and so the town was swarmed with Japanese people.
Cool.
So that was fun.
That's great. All right, so this podcast is called Destination Eat Drink. We've talked about a lot of destinations. We haven't talked about much eats. So I'm just going to ask you: did you have anything to eat in Coopers? Is there anything interesting to eat in Cooperstown?
You want to know what's funny? We went to a sushi restaurant
in Cooperstown,
and it was excellent. Because all the Japanese people were there.
Yeah.
They went all out on the sushi thing, and so it was all over the place. And I'm like, this is fantastic. So we had some sushi.
Oh, nice. So when you're in Cooperstown, look for the sushi.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, Rick, it's been great catching up with you. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for allowing us to do this in your studio. We'll do it again sometime. Great to talk to you.
Thanks, Brent.
Okay, that's Rick Kaempfer, and let me say, just in case it's not clear, everyone we talked about in these stories is fine. Broken bones are healed. Embarrassment has subsided. You can listen to Rick on the fantastic Minutia Men podcast at radiomisfits.com. I highly recommend it. I listen every week. Rick also hosts the Minutia Men Celebrity Interview podcast and the Free Kicks podcast. Both of them are available on radiomisfits.com or your podcast app. Rick's publishing company is Eckharts Press, and there are dozens of entertaining books available from them, including the Loop Files that I mentioned earlier. Browse their shelves at eckhartspress.com. That's ECKHARTZ press.com. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, we are in Ethiopia for an unusual drink called turbo, using bread as a utensil and the origin of coffee. Don't miss that. Make sure you're subscribed so you get it downloaded automatically to your phone, your tablet, your laptop, whatever. Until then, there's plenty more foodie travel at destinationeatdrink.com. I just posted a new video. This one's about a hidden gem tram museum in Lisbon. Lisbon's known for some great museums, but hardly anyone goes to this tram museum, and it's great. You can watch that by clicking on the video tab at destinationeatdrink.com or go to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@destinationeatdrink946. I also posted a brand new story. It's about something that might annoy you when you travel, the tourist tax. It's not an official tax, but it is very real. And you can read about it at destinationeatdrink.com/blog. I've also just published a bunch of brand new foodie travel guides. Check out my Puglia, Italy guide. It gives you all the best things you have to eat and drink and where to get them, like the most delicious little pastries in Lecce, amazing street food in Bari, and comically huge loaves of bread in Mont St. Angelo, plus much, much more. Download that Puglia Foodie Travel Guide or one of my other guides at buymeacoffee.com/destinationeatdrink, and thank you very much. Destination Eat Drink is distributed by the Radio Misfits Podcast Network and Ed Silla. Thanks, Ed. I'm Brent Peterson. I'll see you down the road.
Join us next week for another culinary adventure on Destination Eat Drink, a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.